Before operating your drone, you need to apply for an operator's ID from the UK Civil Aviation Authority, but because you're under 18, it needs to be in one of your parents' name.
Hi, baby. So the first thing you need to do before you start using your drone is you need to download the app. The way you can do that, you just go onto your browser and type in DJI app. Look for the search result that shows you the DJI.com website. That's the one you need to be going on. And the app you need to download is DJI Fly for your drone. Okay, it gives you an option to download APK. Because mine is an Android, it'll show up as an Android APK. If yours is an Apple, then it'll show you as an iOS or Apple or iPhone APK. That is downloaded mine. I've downloaded mine already, so there's no need to download it again. Then I go onto my options there to find the DJI app. Usually when you open the app without connecting it to your controller or your drone, it'll come up with something like this. So the next step now is to get your drone out from your bag. I think I'm quite confident you had Daddy bought one with a bag for you. Then you remove that clip there. Okay. Before I remove this, when you put it back together, it's fundamental that you make sure the blades are tucked in under this strap. Under this section here, that just provides further protection for when you store it away and when you're carrying it around. Put that in your bag, and then you remove the gimbal cover. Put it down there. You're gonna need to insert the battery. Daddy already has a battery on this one. Yours should have come with a Fly More Combo 2, which comes with that. You'll need a USB cable to charge this. Now it's important to mention to you that these lights, when they flash, the faster they flash, the faster they are charging. So if they flash very slow, then it's going to take longer to charge them. So I'll put that back there because I don't need that for now. I already have a battery in here. Insert the battery like so. Make sure it's clicked like that. Did you see that? Did you see that clip there? Look at that clip there. You see, you're going to notice it moving upwards. Then you know it's locked. It's not going to come off. You close the flap. And now to open the arms, you need to open the arms this way, outwards first. To move the back arms first, outwards. And then, well, you need to move the front arms actually. The top arms first. And then the arms below, they move downwards like that. Now the main reason you need to do it that way is because if you try to move the one below first, you can't open this arm. Hence why the top arm, the top arms open outwards first, and then the bottom ones downwards. So that's your drone in its takeoff position. Before I turn it on, let me start with the controller too. So your controller should have come with 2 joysticks at the bottom. You'll also get 2 extra ones in case you lose these ones. One way to ensure you don't lose these ones is every time you finish using them, take them off and make sure you put them in here. They are in properly. That way they don't fall off when you're carrying it around or accidentally. So you take those joysticks off and then you just screw it on there. Can you see that? Just screw on there. Don't force it in. Just twist it until it screws all the way in. The next thing to do is to look for the right cable to connect your phone to the controller. Now, because Daddy's phone is an Android and it uses USB-C, this is the cable I use on mine. It's usually stored there. So once I finish with it, I'll insert it there. Okay, make sure the cable's in. Close this part and it's there for next time I use. That way, make sure, you know, it's one way to ensure you don't lose the cable accidentally. So I'm going to open this again, remove this side, left side, because the connection is to the right. And now insert the phone here. So usually Daddy just rests it on there first. Yeah, and then you push it with your thumbs like that until they rest on these rubber pads. Next thing to do is get your cable, connect it. Now nothing's happening now because the controller isn't on yet. To turn the controller on, it's the same method as the drone, but I'll show the drone in a moment as well. So you tap it once and then you hold it a second time. Now that's an indication that it's connected to my phone. I always choose file transfer option. There you go. So now it should... Oh, now I need to pair this controller with the drone. That's why you can't see the image just yet. Like I was saying before, what you need to do with the drone here, you tap this button once, and then you hold it a second time until it stays like that, flashing. Okay, soon enough, the gimbal is just testing itself. You get a flashing light at the back, that means it's pairing. Controller is flashing, so it's still pairing. Stop flashing, that means it's paired. Daddy has the front light set to purple. Why purple? Because purple is an unusual color to see in the sky. So if there is other drone operators around, they're more likely to question why is a purple light in the sky than if it is a white or a red one that could be an airplane. So now, put it on the ground. Daddy said something else you need to be aware of is structures around the drone. So as you can see, there's a good 10 feet to the left of the drone, maybe another 10 feet to the right, over 10 feet to the front, and more than 10 feet behind it. Also, before you take off, make sure you're a good 6 feet from the drone and there's nobody around the drone. That goes for you too, Aiden. It's not going to be funny if you're hovering over the drone and then the drone lifts off and slices your skin. The other thing you need to make sure is to look overhead and look for obstacles that you might crash into. So on here, the obstacles would have been those cables up there. As you can see, there's a tower there that I need to be careful with, and also over there, over there, there's trees. There's the hedge over there, and this tree here. So the drone is right in the center, in a comfortable position. When you get it up in the air, I would say get it up to 30 meters up in the air. Because aside from tall buildings or wind turbines and other structures alike, there isn't much else that's going to be as tall as that. So when you get it up to 30 meters. You'll fly. That's the height indicator there. And if you can see, there you go. It's a 0 now because, you know, there is, of course, it's on the ground. It hasn't taken off yet. Here you can also tell the distance between you and the drone. So if you don't know what 6 feet look like, 6 feet look like, ooh, oh come on, surely, that's 6 feet, 1.8 meters. You can change that to feet, leave it in meters, but I'll leave that for another video, just to keep things simple this time, just for you to take off. As I'm sure you're pretty excited. If you haven't taken off yet, I'm sure you're pretty excited to take off with your drone. So once you've checked for all those precautions and you're a safe distance away from your drone, Daddy has different settings for all those, and you can change those right here. But just for the sake of keeping things simple this time, Daddy's not going to show you how to change those settings now. And I'll show you in the next video. But basically, on a cinematic mode, the drone does a move around the squig because it's meant to capture a better image, capture better videos, better quality, more similar to a film or a movie, same thing really. The sports mode is if you want to get your drone from A to B as fast as possible, and that's what I use it for. So if I'm going to use my drone, let's say a couple thousand feet away from me, and first I start off with sports mode. Yeah, I'll lift off. Make sure that my home point is set, and then I'll get to the location and change it back to cinematic mode. And for someone that's using a drone for the first time, I'm assuming so, it's for the first time, I'd say put it on cinematic mode first. Play around with your drone on cinematic mode, and when you feel more comfortable, change to normal mode. When you feel comfortable with normal mode, then put on sports mode. Take off, you see this option here? You tap on that, and then you hold it on here. But usually what Daddy likes to do, I like to wait until a few satellites are detected. You can see here there's only 4 satellites. So I'm going to wait until there's nearly 10 or over. Shouldn't take long. After this video, Daddy's going to publish another one that's going to show you some settings for you to have better control of your drone. Daddy uses sports mode mainly to get it off the ground and to get it onto the location that I want to fly over or capture a video, etc. Then once I get there, I put it on cinematic mode. Then when the battery indicator tells me I need to return, I put it back to sports mode and get the drone back to my location. This here is your camera zoom. Okay, you can move it up and down like this with your finger. Hold it and move it up and down. It's only if you're using 4K resolution, then you can only zoom twice. I think if you're using full HD, then you can use a 4 zoom. This button here is what you use for the camera to move up and down. And these 2 joysticks is what you're mainly going to be using. So these 2 and this wheel here is what you're going to be using. So now you can see there's 9. You can just see that there's 9 satellites. So what's left to do now is to take off. Let me adjust the camera. I'm going to take a few steps back. To take off, you need to tap that option there, like I've explained before once already. Then hold it until the green circle is filled. It's all the way around. Let go. And that's your drone taking off. One other thing you need to remind yourself of as well is that regulations, UK regulation, EU regulations say that you have to keep line of sight with your drone. So don't fly it too far away or over houses and then you can't see it, because that's against regulations. And plus, you could be crashing into someone, or you could be crashing into something because you don't have direct line of sight, although you have the camera to see where you're going. So you need to bear that in mind. Make sure your home point is updated. I don't know if you'll do it here because of the area that is in. Okay, home point updated. And what this means is that if you lose signal with your drone, or if your drone is running out of battery, it'll return to this point here. Okay? Now the settings here is that if you use this, the drone will go up and down. As you can see, up and down. That there is to spin it. Say if I'm spinning it to the right, that's what I'll do. As you can see, it's full lock and it isn't spinning that fast because Daddy chose cinematic mode. So it gives you more control of your drone that way. Now if you want to move it forward or backward, then what you need to do is press this one forward. Okay? Backward, just the other way around. Now if you push this to the side, it will move sideways. So I'll show you like that. You see how it moves sideways? Now if I push to the left, then it'll move to the left. So this one is forwards and backwards. Move sideways to the left or right. And then let me just make sure you get this. And you can just that's it, lift off. And you can start moving it around. So now it's at let's see, at the moment 8.5 meters off the ground. I would say if you want to fly comfortably, make sure there's no tall buildings around you and get it up to 30 meters. That's usually high enough for you to avoid any obstacles in the form of cables, lampposts, trees, etc. I don't know if you can see, it says there 29, 30 meters. And as you can see, there's nothing around quite as high as a drone is. Of course, it depends on location as well, because let's suppose that it took off from here and it's 30 meters high. 30 meters high from this point where it took off from. But if I was to go up the road, up the hill, then it'll be less height because I'm going up the hill and the drone is closer to the ground. And this is all I'm going to show you for now, sweetheart, because it's just the basics for you to lift off and move it around a little bit. So you just move your drone. I don't know if you can see the image. So you just play around there. You see how some trees are already the same height as a drone. But this is where Daddy is. There is a lot of tall trees. If where you are there isn't tall trees, then you can just keep it at 30 meters. To turn the camera up and down, you use this so you can see like the camera going down. If you push it to the left, it goes down. This beeping that you're hearing is because it's running out of battery. You press it to the right, upwards, left, downwards. So Daddy now is going to look. That's where Daddy is. Now remember those cables overhead. You see the cables there? So we need to be careful for that. Watch out for that. So the best way to land your drone, best way for you to know exactly where you're landing your drone, is to tilt your camera, slide that to the left, tilt the camera all the way down vertically. If Daddy was to land now, this is where it would land. So what I need to do is bring it to where Daddy is. You see where Daddy is down there? And then bring it down gradually. At this point, I can see the drone overhead, so not only I can use the camera to see where it's going, but I can also look up to make sure it's going to land in a good place. I keep bringing it down. When your drone is running out of battery, the red light will flash, as you can see. And when it starts beeping faster, it means that it's gonna, the battery is lower. So Daddy's gonna bring it down now. Remember, there's two ways to bring it down. One, you can either hold this joystick down. And you'll order the drone to land, or you can just use this one here. Because I've shown you the other way, I'm just going to show you this way. And that's it. But if it's flying over someone, it doesn't go all the way down. It detects that there's something underneath it, and then it just stops. But anyway, I don't recommend flying it over anyone at the moment. Get some experience, sit, play it around, get comfortable with it. Drones down, that's the basics. Once you're done with it, then you turn the controller off by tapping once and then holding second time. Controller's turned off. The same thing applies to the drone. So you tap once and then hold it a second time. It'll turn itself off. Now, to put the arms back into place, you got to start with the bottom arms first. These bottom ones. And then what you do, you hold the arm here. Try not to hold it here because it might cause some damage. I'm not saying it will, I'm saying it might cause some damage. But better to be safe. Hold the arm and then push it downwards like this. Push it and hold it. Yeah, hold it all the way to the end, because if you let go and it does this, eventually after using it a few times it can cause free play on the arm. So it's best just to do it carefully all the way in, gently. Same with this one. And once those two are in, then you can bring the top arms backwards. Okay, now to store it away, first thing you want to do is protect the camera. Putting the strap over this, if you put the strap over this, two things. You can do this way, but there's a likelihood that you might nudge the camera or put pressure on the camera that can cause damage. So Daddy, usually I prefer to, not usually, I just prefer to protect the camera first. Okay, make sure it's in there. You see those two, yeah, those two parts there, make sure it's wedged against there, and then you push this down. Now backwards, what Daddy likes to put pressure here, push it backwards, and then it goes down, and that's the camera protected. Now for the blades, like Daddy said before, make sure the blades are within the strap, because this gives them a protection on the top as well before you button it. Make sure the blades are in there. Once that's done, then your drone is protected. Remove the battery. This one is charging, so it needs to go in the charger holder. That goes in there. Now, because Daddy has more than 3 batteries, and to remember which battery is nearly flat, and then what Daddy will do is take the middle battery and place this one there. So when I go back to it, when I go back to charge it, I know it's this battery. Instead of putting it there and then thinking to myself, okay, I put it on the left, and then later on I can't remember if I put it on the left facing forwards or backwards. So the first flat battery goes in the middle. Once you have 2 flat batteries, then put the 2 flat batteries on the sides. That way you know it's the middle one, whichever you're facing, that still has some charge. Then you put it away. You can usually, Daddy uses the bigger slot for controller and the smaller slot for the batteries. So that's that one there. Those ones there. I'll come back to that once the controller's in there. Then you come off the DJI app. Remove the cable. To remove the phone, just pull it up that way. And with your finger up down here, you can just pull it up and press up with your finger. Like that. I see you have to, you have to improvise. So, use fingers like that. Once it's loose, then I lift it up slightly, the button up slightly. That way it gives you more control over taking your phone off. Once that's done, you put the cable back in there. Do you see down there? See down there, there's a little hole. So you slot it back in there. Make sure the cable isn't hanging out. Make sure it's in there. Press it down, and that's the cable stored away. And then the joysticks, it's better to always remove them, because if you leave them on there and then there's pressure on them when they're inside your bag, and when you're carrying them around, it can cause damage. Now, this is not to say that it's going to cause damage. Every little amount of pressure is going to cause damage, but it's just to prevent the causing damage. So always remove it. Always place it here immediately after, and that's your controller ready to be stored away. Now, because Daddy has a couple of additional batteries, I have to make sure this is in first, with the holder down there, and then the batteries on either side. Once that's done, you can close the bag, take it whatever you need to take to. And that's it, sweetheart. That's the basics of being aware of what's around, what you need to look out for when taking off, the basic controllers, the altitude, remember 30 meters. Look around, spin the drone around. If you can see anything in the same height as the camera, line of sight of the camera, then lift the drone up higher. The maximum altitude you can lift your drone up is 120 meters in the UK. So you got to bear that in mind. And usually the drone is set up so it can't go higher than 120 meters anyway. But just to start off with 30, 40 meters, make sure you have line of sight with the drone. Take it around, see what's around you. It's a lot of fun. Daddy's created another channel where I'm publishing footage of places I go to. So far it's been Madeira, that's been a few times. I'll share that in the comments, or I'll share it in this video. And that's all there is for now. The next clip, I'm going to show you how to set, what to do with some of the settings, like the cinematic settings to give you more control of your drone, what those mean, how you can change the LED light, etc. That's going to be in the next video. So that's all for now, sweetheart. Get your drone up in the air, have some fun, get comfortable with it, have some fun. And Daddy loves you, love you. I love you, and I will see you next time, baby. Goodbye.